Whether you buy a house or rent an apartment, you'd still expect to know everything there is to know about the place either way. Like, how many rooms there are, if the place has a garage, whether the basement is finished or not. But some places have rooms that people didn't even know about. And when those rooms are finally revealed, creepy things are usually found. Make sure to keep watching until the end to hear about the man who installed trapdoors in his house to drop his unsuspecting victims into the basement. Let's take a look at 10 mysterious secret rooms people found inside their house. Do you ever get the feeling that you're not alone in your house? Well, that feeling might get worse after hearing this first story. Imgur user 2ByteBrownie posted a series of images back in 2013 about a bookshelf in their parents' room. 2ByteBrownie had been living in the house for about a year at this point, and they always assumed that the bookshelf was built into the wall. But while messing around with their brother, they accidentally pulled the bookshelf out away from the wall. What was found behind the bookshelf was nothing short of terrifying. It revealed a spiral staircase that didn't seem to lead anywhere in particular. But about halfway down the staircase, they found a crawl space and decided to crawl into it. Bad idea. Deep inside the crawl space, they found items that indicated that someone was squatting in their house. There was a white blanket in the space and empty candy wrappers, which 2ByteBrownie claimed was Halloween candy taken from their room. The siblings also found an elephant sculpture, a key that they'd never seen before in their lives, and 2 creepy dolls. While it's possible that this might have all been just an elaborate hoax, many people were enraptured by this story. 2ByteBrownie even gave an update to let everyone know that the police speculated that whoever was living there had done so on a temporary basis. But maybe you identify more as someone who feels like there's something special about your house, just like Pennsylvanian resident Alexandra Poulos did. As a child, she would often dream about finding secret rooms hidden in her house. And after taking the house over from her father and renting it out for extra cash, she realized that her dreams were closer to reality than they seemed. While some workers were executing repairs in the home's basement, they found something strange. A large hole in the basement floor revealed a room below the house that was at least 14 feet deep. Alexandra's father once encountered a neighbor that told him there was a room underneath their basement, but the family never looked into it further. As it turns out, this secret room was used to hide people who'd run away back in the day. Alexandra's home was a safe house that was part of the Underground Railroad network that helped these people get to safety in Canada. After contacting the local historical society about her find, Alexandra learned that her town was known for being an abolitionist hub back in the day. Since the homeowners who helped the escapees were breaking the law, they had to make sure that these rooms were well out of sight, which is why Alexandra's family had no idea it existed for nearly half a century. Now, imagine renting out an apartment and being told by your landlord that there might be a secret room hidden somewhere in your new place. Well, that's exactly what happened to a group of Norwegian students. While studying for their exams, the students needed a break and decided to go searching for the room. They looked around the attic but didn't find anything at first. After a while, they managed to figure out that a part of one of the walls could be moved. Behind this wall was a small room that possibly dated back to World War II. Inside the decrepit room was a map of Europe, an alarm that would light up, and a handwritten sign that read, "If you have a bad stomach, you do not have access," in a foreign language. While the students didn't know what the room was used for at first, Reddit users had a few suggestions. Some speculated that it could have been used as a hideout for Jewish people during World War II. But after speaking to a few local historians, it was revealed that the room was used as a secret newspaper press during the occupation, roughly between 1944 and March 1945. The printing press had to move out of the attic after officials started to investigate it. While the internet freaked out over this creepy picture of a doll shoe that the students also posted, it reportedly wasn't found inside the room. While they were glad to find a room with such historical value, we're sure that Reddit user Lumberjack wished that he never found this room hidden in his house. A few weeks after moving into his property, he found a crawl space in his attic that led to a locked door. He thought that it was a bit weird that the crawl space had a bunch of carpets laid down around it, but didn't really think much of it. After managing to unlock the door, he found a room that was covered in soundproofing material and plastic white tarps. The room also had a small raised area in the middle that looked to be the size of a single bed. He found a briefcase filled with envelopes full of money from different countries. He also found a black safe, and here's where things get creepy. The safe was filled with VHS tapes, and one of them had "No" written multiple times all over it. There was even a piece of paper that read, "Save yourself." Many people believe this to be nothing more than an elaborate prank, and the story eventually went dark. But according to Lumberjack himself, whatever was found on those tapes was being investigated by the authorities, who asked for him to take down his original post. While we don't know what exactly he saw on the tapes, we're gonna nickname this hidden room the Dexter crawlspace. Lumberjack may not have to move out of his house due to his discovery, but we're sure it left a bad taste in his mouth. Sadly, Jason and Carrie Brown were not so lucky. After finding a foreclosed house for sale in Greenville, South Carolina for just $75,000, they thought that they had hit the jackpot. But when they started to renovate the place, these happy homeowners found a hidden passage behind some bookshelves that led to an unhappy situation. The corridor led to a room that had a note sitting inside of it, waiting to be read. The note said, "You found it. Hello. If you're reading this, then you found the secret room. I owned this house for a short while, and it was discovered to have a serious mold problem. One that actually made my children very sick, to the point that we had to move out. After hiring an environmental engineer to test the air quality, high levels of toxic black mold and other molds were found. The previous owner had left the message hidden away because he wanted to warn the next owners about the life-threatening issue. He knew that if the realtor had found the note in plain sight, it would have been thrown away. Luckily for the Browns, the Federal National Mortgage Association bought the house back for its original selling price. Are you feeling freaked out yet? Don't worry, we're gonna lighten things up a bit with this next one. In 2010, an apartment in Paris was found that had been untouched since 1940. That means that nobody had stepped foot inside of it for 70 years. Its occupant, Solange, had left it all behind while escaping a soon-to-be-occupied France during World War II. She never returned to the apartment and never rented it out. The only reason that the place was even rediscovered was because Solange had passed away in 2010, and the apartment was listed as one of her assets. Located in Paris's 9th arrondissement, one expert said that walking into this flat was like stumbling into the castle of Sleeping Beauty. The place was filled with beautiful artwork and furniture from another era. One of the paintings of Solange's grandmother by Giovanni Boldini went on to sell for over $2 million at an auction. The apartment expenses were all paid regularly up until Solange's death, and no one knows why she never returned to the place. We just can't believe that nobody knew about the wonders sitting behind her front door for nearly a century. Then there's the Mont Saint-Odile Abbey, which is perched high up in the Vosges Mountains of France. In the early 2000s, thousands of ancient books had disappeared without a trace from the monastery library over a 2-year period. What made their disappearance even stranger was the fact that there were never any signs of a break-in. When the theft first began, new locks were put onto the library door. When that didn't work, they changed the locks again and reinforced the door with steel. The windows were also sealed from inside, but that didn't stop the books from going missing either. Were ghosts responsible for this mischief? Or was it maybe the work of the devil? Well, it actually turned out to be the work of a local book lover who had found a secret passageway into the library. He had found a map in the public archives that showed how to access it through a route that went from the monastery's attic to right behind one of the library's bookcases. No one at the monastery had any idea that the passageway existed, but it's believed to have been used in the medieval times to spy on conversations of monks. But medieval people weren't the only ones that purposely built secret corridors into their buildings. Doug Carlston purposely built 1,700 feet of secret passageways and 1,100 square feet of hidden catacombs into his Aspen vacation home. When it came to constructing his dream home, Doug's philosophy was, there should be more to things than meets the eye. A simple twist of an inconspicuous latch can lead you on an adventure like no other in this home. In one secret room, nicknamed the Room of Doom, you are pushed out onto a rocky ledge behind a waterfall. The only way out is to either jump through the waterfall into a pool of water or to swim through a chute. Perhaps unsurprisingly, Doug was the co-founder of Broderbund, a software developer that created the interactive video game Myst in the 90s. When asked why he needed to build such a fantasy-like home, he responded that he needed a place to put his buried treasure. But all jokes aside, we can't help but wonder what someone with malicious intents would use all of those hidden rooms for. Maybe someone like H.H. Holmes, one of America's first documented serial killers, who constructed a building that would go on to be known as Murder Castle. He hired workers to add in trapdoors and other booby-trapped rooms. In order not to reveal the full extent of his plans, he was always firing these workers and hiring new ones. The trapdoors were used to drop his unsuspecting victims into the building's basement where he'd finish them off. He targeted women who came to Chicago for work. When talking about his crimes, he said, "I could not help the fact. No more than the poet can help the inspiration to sing." While the hidden labyrinth was quite impressive, it's scary to know that someone like Holmes existed. He faced the death penalty for his crimes in 1896, and the Murder Castle was eventually gutted by a fire and torn down. But is there anything scarier than what was found inside this room that was nailed shut? Not only is this doll the stuff that nightmares are made of, but the "Be My Friend Forever" writing really seals the deal. According to the Reddit user who posted the picture, Grantwell, they left the doll in there for a while so they could show the creepy room to friends. We're not sure that we'd ever be able to sleep in our house again if we discovered this horror movie-like scene. And that's all for 10 mysterious secret rooms people found inside their house. Which of these rooms freaked you out the most? Let us know in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to give this video a like before you go.